You have asked me to record a quick video on explaining briefly what budgetary slack is when you create your budget. So you as a manager will create a budget, and those are based upon estimations of what will happen in the current period. Now, budgetary slack is the overestimating of expenses and the underestimating of revenues. Okay, kind of in a nutshell, the managers create this to either benefit the company or benefit themselves, depending on what occurs. So to explain this a little bit more, let's look at revenue. A manager will prepare the budget here currently, and they will estimate, or the sales of the company will be estimated to be $80,000. Instead, the manager on the budget shows $70,000 worth of sales or revenue coming in. And that difference between the 80,000 and 70,000 creates that budgetary slack. That $10,000 is where they give a cushion. So when the manager estimates 80,000, shows 70, and they exceed that $70,000 amount during the period when they report or show that they exceeded the budget, they're showing better performance in a way. This is useful in new products to see where the revenues and expenses truly lie. It is also beneficial to see where performance lies with managers in certain departments. They can show how much is actually occurring, but there's also a negative connotation with it that managers can use it in personal gain or benefit. And as I said, it's used for production of new products. Let's say you have a new product and you have no prior information on it, no prior numbers. The current industry is lacking on information based upon this new product. And you will estimate that the sales are going to come in around $80,000, the revenue will, but you show in the budget that 70,000. And so if it exceeds it, you can say, okay, that we had better performance than what was budgeted for. Or if it doesn't exceed that 70,000, you're like, okay, we need to readjust the budget and expenses to figure out what needs to be happening. And it's a great way to add a cushion to properly track the new products, revenues, and expenses. A second form of it is how managers can use it to show better performance either in their department or to external and internal sources. Let's say that the manager decides to budget for 70,000 instead of 80 and exceeds the 70,000. If there's a bonus tied into it, he'd beat the budget and he can receive more compensation. Okay. The views are quite back and forth. It's a little controversial with budgetary slack. Most people see it as either unethical or not practical, depending on situation. But in the uncertainty of situations such as the new product, new manufacturing lines, not a lot of information, budgetary slack is quite a useful tool because it gives you that cushion to follow along with, okay, how do we need to budget properly the next few periods and in the future to understand how this new product works in the market. The negative connotation that it gets is when managers do use it for personal gain or better performance evaluations, such as reporting higher expenses on the budget. And then when expenses come in on the actual report, they are much lower. And so they beat that. And it gives them a better look, more department, more bonuses, better pay, reputation adds up. Okay. My recommendation on this is to be quite cautious and only use it when necessary, such as the new products lines, new manufacturing line, and to avoid as much as possible keeping managers from creating that budget to incentivize themselves. Some internal controls to help this would be to only have a few managers be able to access the master budget. Don't tie your bonuses into the budget performance. That'll help. And those are my recommendations. I hope that made a little bit more sense to you for the budgetary slack. If you have any questions, concerns, please contact me.